Welcome to day 36 of how to automate your law firm in 90 days. I am Shay Jackson, your AI automation specialist. In this video, we are creating what is called a RAG agent. That stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. I know that's a mouthful, but I did create a light version in the last video where I called it a knowledge base, and I'll link that up top. It was a tool that we created for the legal assistant agent. Now, what does RAG agent mean? Basically, we are going to load information up, and I'll show you that part where there's information or details specific to your law firm, so that if someone asks a question, if, like, for instance, you have a chatbot or you have an AI voice agent and there's a question that a potential client asks, you have a knowledge base that will answer questions specifically for your law firm. That is where the retrieval part comes from, because it's looking through all of the knowledge that you have given it that it can use, and it is generating information based on the details that it retrieved. Let's dive in. Let's get started. I am on the N8N platform. Here we are at the ABC Law Firm chatbot. I haven't created it yet, but first I want to go over a couple of things before we get to creating our chatbot, okay? The first thing that I want to do is know that we are connecting our knowledge base, aka RAG, to this chatbot. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, I did build and I showed or demonstrated how I built this part of the knowledge base, and I'm going to walk through it again. What I did was have the ability to upload information so that, let's say for instance, there are new details from your website or any information that you want to add to your knowledge base, then I want the on form submission, because all I have to do is create a form or upload a form and it will go to our vector store. Now, you may be asking, well, where did I get that information from? I used information, and all I did was just go in, and you can do the same thing for your law firm or use a web scraper. It depends on what type of IT team you have, but you can scrape your specific website and you can have all of that information in the document. And that is what I did for this example. I don't know this law firm. One thing that I will say is kudos, because they have a lot of good information for answering questions that sometimes potential clients say that law firms don't do. They have to question, they don't understand, it's not enough information on law firms they're looking for to take their case. They don't have enough information. But this law firm, they have a website that is packed with very good information. I didn't get all of the information, just enough so that we can see this demonstration. So Kingsley and Sezamet, I apologize if that is the wrong way to pronounce it. 10 out of 10. This is a very, very good website. Okay. So again, what I did was I just took information off of this website and I created a PDF. So going back, I created a PDF so that I could upload it into N8N. That is where the on form submission comes from. And let me click in here. The form title is just upload documents. The form description, I left blank. Basically, it's uploading documents, and I could put it uploading documents for the knowledge base. Okay. And for the field name, I just put file, and the element type, here's a drop down, and here are all of the different types of file of elements that you can use. And for our example, we are just using a file. Now, by default, multiple files is turned on, but what I did was turn it off because there seems sometimes to be an issue and it takes a long time in order for it to upload it. And to cut that out, what I did was just turn off multiple files, and the accepted file types. You see, I don't have anything in here. It says leave empty to allow all file types, and that is what we want. Is it a required field? Yes. So that is it for on form submission. Now you see here we have what is called a vector store, and we are using Pinecone Vector Store. Now I'm going to click in here, and I've already connected my credential to my Pinecone account, which I will click in. And you will see that I've already created an index for the ABC Law Firm chatbot. And just to mention again, I walked through this also in the last video, that when I connected a not what I called a knowledge-based agent to the legal assistant agent. Okay. And you'll see that it's already information in here. And that is because what I did was I submitted the form as I showed you, so that that information, those documents could be uploaded. So here again, I connected my credential, the operation mode. Let me use the drop down, and I used insert documents because that is what we did. And it asks for what pinecone index, and I'll show the drop down. For the last video, I used an ABC RAG agent that I created, but now I am saying this is an ABC law firm chatbot, because the RAG agent, as I mentioned, you can put it on your website as a chatbot, so that, again, if potential clients come, it's after hours, they have questions they want to ask. Chatbots are an easy way that, instead of going through all of the different tabs in your website, just having a chatbot there to immediately get their question answered is a good way of showing you care about your customer, and being able to give your potential client, and being able to give an immediate response. Okay, so that is the Pinecone Vector Store, and I explained it a little bit, and I'll give a little bit of high level overview now. Basically, the vector store, as opposed to just all of the documents or the pages of documentation that is uploaded, the cool thing about a vector store is it kind of makes it, and it's like and that's why they call it a pine cone. It's still the same information, but it's broken up, kind of compressed, where it's able to immediately retrieve the information, as opposed to, like, for instance, someone reading a book where they have to go through all of the information. Let's say you want to get to page 160, instead of having to read through all of the information up to 160, what you do is you break out the information and kind of group it together, where whenever there's a question or response asked, it can immediately kind of go to that area and use that information to answer it. Okay. For our embeddings, we are using OpenAI, and the model is text embedding 3 small. And let me go over here, because it's something that I also mentioned in the last video. Whatever you make your embedding model in Pinecone, you need to do the same thing. Excuse me. You need to do the same thing here in N8N. Now that we have our Pinecone vector store, and there are other vector stores you can use, we are using Pinecone. Okay, I'm back. I had a little tickle in my throat, so had to address that. So now that we've set up our Pinecone vector store, excuse me, how are we going to handle the document? And here we have a default data loader, okay? The type of data that we're going to use, excuse me, is binary, which I have there. The mode load all input data, and the data format automatically detect by MIME type. Excuse me. I don't want to dive into that, and I'll click, and you can see all the different data formats you can use. But by default, I keep it as automatically detect by MIME type. Not much to say there. Then after that, how are we splitting the text? A good way whenever you are creating a RAG agent to split the text is recursive character text splitter. And that is what we used. Excuse me, my apologies. Our chunk size is 2000 and our chunk overlap is 200, which is the same thing I did when creating the RAG agent in the last video. Now that we have our ABC knowledge base set up, what we can do is now we are going to create our chatbot. And hold on, let me save this first. Now let's create our chatbot, okay? In order to test our chatbot, we're going to use a chat, okay? And here we're going to choose on chat message, okay? So on chat message, we need to create an AI agent. It is a tools agent, and the source of the prompt is going to be our chat, because usually in the last video, what I used was defined below, and we put in, for our JSON, we put in query, but this time we're using a chat, and that is going to be what our trigger is, okay? Now, for the properties, I want to put in a message. Okay, I'm gonna, and I have a little cheat sheet right here on the bottom. Okay, you are a legal assistant you are a legal assistant that assists with questions about the law firm. You cannot, excuse me, cannot answer questions about any other topic. And the reason that I put this part in is because, hold on, who assists? Okay, and the reason I put this part in is because we don't want hallucinations. Because what large language models (LLMs) will do is, if they don't have the question, they answer because they really want to help the if you're chatting, and you may have experienced this, it'll just come up with information that's not true because it doesn't have the information, and it doesn't know what to do, so it'll come up with it by itself. But we don't want that. What we wanted to do is answer questions specific to this law firm we're using as an example. And if there's a topic that's asked that it can't answer, we're going to say, if you are asked about any other topic, politely guide the conversation back to the law firm. Okay? All right. So that is that. And the chat model we're going to use is I usually use OpenAI and GPT-4. You see my credentials are already connected. So that's the LLM we will be using for this example. And you saw there are several that you can use: Grok, Anthropic, Gemini. um, but for this example, I am using OpenAI. One thing that I will say is whenever choosing a chat model, definitely choose one that is kind of like, for instance, I chose GPT 4o Mini. I would advise, if you're going to use a chatbot, find something, another chatbot other than OpenAI. Use something comparable to that chat model, just to make sure, this is your brand. You want the best representation in someone interacting with your law firm, the best representation possible. So have a good chat model. Okay. For the memory, we are going to use the window buffer memory. Okay. And the context window length, I'm going to put about 20. And the past interactions, basically, it's going to remember information that I asked in the past interaction, just for it to be a continuous information and a continuous chat. You don't want the client to be asking to ask questions and it kind of as something that was already answered. You wanted to immediately have the answer, as opposed to coming up with something different. Okay. And then for our tool here, this is the tool we're going to use, and it's the pine cone, and I'll type this right here. And you see we have in memory, vector store, Postgres, uh, Quadrant, Supabase. These are all good vector stores. Pinecone is just, to me, that's the vector store that I've used before. And I will, if there is a need, I'll try other ones for a demonstration. Okay. But if you don't see it, I would type in Pinecone, and here you see Pinecone Vector Store. And the operation mode is retrieve documentation as a tool. And I'm going to use ABC Law Firm Chatbot. And description. Oh, what did I do wrong? Let me see. ABC Law Chatbot. Okay. Instead of hyphens, I forgot to use the underscore. Okay. The description: use data from Pinecone Vector Store when asked about the law firm. Okay, the Pinecone index we're going to use. We are using the ABC Law Firm chatbot. The limit for that stays the same, and include metadata by default is on, and we're going to leave it on. Okay, so here is our Pinecone vector store, and I have to also include an embedding. And here, the embeddings is the same one that I used to create the knowledge base, which is the same one we have in our Pinecone vector store. It's text embedding 3 small. Okay, so now we are done. Let's test this out. So let's look at the law firm, and let me save it. Okay, let's look at the law firm and come up with some questions. So here, let's talk about, for instance, the Eaton Canyon fires. And you see that they have they are working with those who were a part of the Eaton fire and working with the claims. So let's say, for instance, I'm trying to find the compensation part. I want something detailed. Oh, and you know what? I can just ask the question because I was thinking in the legal assistant agent, I had the ability, a tool where we could search the internet. So for ChatGPT 4.0, it doesn't immediately, it's not connected and it doesn't search the internet. It has knowledge up to a certain point. I think it's 2023. It may be updated, so that may absolutely be wrong, but it's not real time information. And I was just trying to look for something specific so that it wouldn't use the tool, the internet tool, but I forgot this is not the legal agent assistant. So this is the question that I would ask. Open chat. And you see I had been testing before. I'm going to say, okay, and let's clear the messages. Okay. Do you assist with Eaton fire claims? And you see where all of the different places it's going, and you see the answer. And let me go up some. Yes, we assist with Eden Fire claims at Kingsley Sezamet. And you see, this is the law firm. I didn't ask it what it was, but we can tell that it's pulling from our knowledge base because of how it answered. Okay. Great. We know that it works. Let's ask something different. And I'm trying to remember. I'm going to put what type of discriminations, because I do remember that I did get information from him from here. What type of discrimination cases do you take? And I spelled discrimination wrong. Did I? Yes, I did. All right. Okay. So here, yes. Oh, hold on. Oh, yeah. At Kingsley Sezamet. I apologize again if this is that's incorrect. We handle various types of discrimination cases, including sex-based discrimination, racial discrimination, religious discrimination, other protected class discrimination. So let's go over and let's look. And it has the sex-based, religious, and what else did it say? It said other protected as well. Oh, and then I think I did ask information about I added information about breastfeeding discrimination. So I'm gonna say, do you handle? Oh, here is a protected class discrimination. I'm gonna say, do you handle breastfeeding discrimination cases? And I spelled discrimination wrong. Oh, let me see. Discrimination. There we go. Okay. Yes, we handle cases related to breastfeeding discrimination. Great. And we see, and again, as is in the chatbot is answering, it again is adding in the law firm's name so that we know it's gathering that information from the law firm. Okay. Let's ask it another question. And one of the things that I'll say is you can say, well, this information is already on the website. Why would I need to add that information to the chatbot? Well, immediately looking at the website, again, this is a great website. It has a plethora of information. We are a microwave. We like things fast, especially with the introduction of artificial intelligence. And no one wants to go through and look to see if a specific case is handled. So that is why you have chatbots where it's easy for you to get that information immediately and have it immediately for potential clients. They don't have to wade through it. Now, one of the things that I mentioned, I think it was it was day one or day two. One of the things that I had a video on is the complaints people have about law firms not providing certain types of information, and it was by Clio. They are the ones who put out the documentation, and one of the things that was mentioned is that law firms on their website, they don't show whether or not they've handled that type of case. Now, it's one thing to, for instance, put, oh, these are the type of cases we handled, as opposed to saying, here, yes, we handle these types of cases, and here is the result of one of those types of cases. Totally different, because what it does show is, again, you are proficient, and it would allow the potential client to have confidence, and probably would be the tipping point of saying, I'm going to move forward with this law firm because not only do they offer my specific type of case, I can see that they have won as well. Okay, because everybody, wants to win. Not only did they win, how much money did they get? So one of the things that I did add is about case results. Can you give examples of the cases you have won? Okay, so here we go. At Kingsley Sesame, we have successfully handled various cases, including cable installers and cable installers case. We negotiated a substantial settlement of 7.2 million for cable installers who were denied state mandated meal and rest breaks, as well as reimbursement for job related expenses against a national cable satellite installation company. So remember, I talked about um, not having hallucinations and giving specific information. So let's see if this is really true, okay? Because you can have your chatbot say anything, but we want to see if this is really true. So let's look. It says cable installers case, and it was 7.2 million. So I'm going to go to the case results, and I'm going to look for, here is a settlement for $7.2 million. And let's look here against National Cable Satellite Installation Company, the client group, cable installers, the legal issues, denied meal and rest breaks, unreimbursed expenses. Yes. Again, do you see how powerful this is? Because if you have a chat bot, it's not just answering very general questions or responding to you with very general answers. Being able to create a RAG agent to give specific answers is incredible. It does. It puts you at a higher level, and it shows not only your attention to detail, also your customer service, because you want to make sure that you can give your client, your potential client, as much information as possible. So let's see if this one is here as well. The denial of back surgery case, 4.7 million. So let's look. And here, 4.7 million. Denial of back surgery case. It also lists the attorney as well. So we see that our RAG agent does work because it is able to give specific information based on the law firm, the information the law firm has on its website. And it could be information that's not even on your website, but that you would want to include in your RAG agent so that, again, if someone has an interest in your law firm taking on a case, you can give as much information and as much detail as possible. So again, just to kind of come back full circle of what this video is about, what we did was I took information and I mentioned you can use a web scraper, but all it is basically getting information that you want to include in your RAG agent, which stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. It's just a fancy way of saying I have information that I've put in a knowledge base that whenever someone asks a question, that it will generate a response based on that information. Okay. And you see for the law firm I used that we were able to go in after I uploaded the information into the Pinecone. I set up the vector store and I was able to create that chatbot agent. We were able to ask the chatbot information and it returned it based on our knowledge base. Now, one thing that I will say is here, I did use a chatbot, but you can use, and I've used Telegram. In the legal assistant agent, I use Telegram where you're not only able to use text, you're able to use audio as well. And um, I will be connecting and showing how you can do that with a voice agent in the upcoming videos. If you have any questions about AI automation or AI agents, I will have a link in the description box where you can schedule a 30-minute free consultation. I am Shay Jackson, your AI automation specialist. Have a wonderful day.